Most people think that marketing is about getting attention or being the loudest voice in the room. But here's the truth. Marketing isn't just about grabbing attention. It's about earning trust, okay? And if you're not doing that, no ads, no funnel, no hack is ever going to save you. If you've ever felt like your marketing is, almost working, but just not clicking the way it should, this video is going to change that. Because I'm going to show you how one simple shift in your message can unlock the results you've been chasing. And it doesn't matter what you sell. It's the same approach I used to help a small bootcamp gym in California. They were completely stuck, almost out of cash. You know the story. But they were able to turn things around in under 30 days. I'll tell you exactly what we changed and how we did it in just a few minutes. This is what this video is about. You're going to learn how to apply my MAP framework, meet, ask, propose, to build trust first so that your content, your ads, and your offers actually land. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why most marketing advice skips the one part that matters the most and how to fix it. But first, I want to take you back, okay? I want to take you back to the early 1900s when a legendary copywriter walked into a beer factory and quietly changed the future of marketing forever. Let me tell you a story. Back in the early 90s, Schlitz Beer was number 7 in the market, and they wanted to fix that, right? So they hired a guy named Claude Hopkins, and everything changed for them after he walked into their brewery. You see, Hopkins did not run flashy ads. He didn't invent a new formula. What he did was he told stories. Stories about how their beer was aged in glass enamel tanks, how it was sterilized 4 times, pasteurized after it was sealed. And then, get this, he told people to ask your doctor about it. And suddenly, beer just wasn't refreshing, it was pure, it was scientific, it was practically medicinal. Sales skyrocketed, and the legend has it that Schlitz rose to number 2 in the market. Not because the product changed, but because the message did. And that's what happens when you stop sounding like a brand and start sounding like someone who actually cares. But here's the thing, this isn't just about beer. The same pattern shows up everywhere, okay? Whenever you see someone dominate their niche, it's never just the product. It's how they frame that product. Budweiser doesn't sell beer. They sell American patriotism. Apple, they don't sell phones. They sell belonging. And Harley-Davidson, they definitely don't sell motorcycles. They sell freedom, the open road, rebellion. That feeling of being unchained from the 9 to 5. It's not about horsepower. It's about identity. Even the most successful coaches today, they're not winning because they have the best offer. They're winning because they've got the clearest message. And clarity, that creates trust, okay? Trust creates momentum, and that's the pattern. The market doesn't reward the best offer. It rewards the best communicator. Today, marketing is more accessible than ever. We've all got the tools. You've built the funnel. You've set up the calendar. Maybe you even hired a VA. You're posting, emailing, tweaking headlines, trying to keep up with that algorithm, right? And yet, it's still not converting, at least not the way it should. The problem isn't that you're not working hard. The problem is that your message just isn't landing. And it's not because it's wrong, it's because it's not resonating. When the message is off, like even slightly, everything downstream breaks, okay? The content feels off, the leads don't click, the offer just gets ignored. And suddenly you're questioning the entire thing. You don't need a new platform, you need a way to actually connect. That's what good marketing does, and that's what we're going to fix right now. You see, marketing is a relationship. It's a buyer-seller relationship. And just like a romantic one, it has stages you just can't skip. You don't walk into a coffee shop and propose marriage. You say hello, you have a conversation, you go on a date. That's how trust is built. And that's exactly what my MAP, meet, ask, propose framework is designed to follow. In the meet phase, your job is just to resonate. Show your audience that you're where they're at, okay? Not by preaching, but by understanding. Then comes the ask. This is where you invite them to take a small step forward. Not a ring on a finger, but maybe a weekend away. And in a business terms, that means asking them to download a PDF or join your community, watch a deeper video. And once there's trust, then, and only then, can you propose. And not with a hard pitch, but with a clear, confident next step that actually just feels aligned. Because that's how real relationships grow, And that's how real marketing works. Here's the simplest way to remember this. You don't propose on the first date. In fact, when I speak on stage, the first thing I do is I find a single woman in the audience who loves dogs and the outdoors. So she's clearly well targeted for me. I bring her up on stage, I drop to one knee, and I pull out the ring and propose. And when she says no, which she usually does, one woman said yes, but I act totally shocked, okay? What do you mean no? They're perfect for each other. I read your profile, you love dogs, I live in the woods, I make maple syrup. And the audience always laughs, but then it hits them. This is exactly what most people are doing with their marketing. They're skipping the connection and jumping straight to the pitch. Buy my course, book a call, right? And when they hear crickets, they take it personally. But it's not rejection, it's just way too soon. And that's why MAP works. You build the relationship first, then you make your move. And when the moment's right, people actually say yes. Let me give you a real example of how this plays out. I worked with a small bootcamp gym in California run by these two brothers. And they were great coaches, but their business was barely hanging on. They'd spent months trying to funnel hack the big box gyms. They were copying the messages from Gold's Gym, LA Fitness. Ads were full of six packs, high energy, and 20-something models, right? But here's the thing. When I visited the gym, the only 20-somethings I saw there were the trainers, okay? All the clients I saw were middle-aged. They were parents, people chasing better health and not chiseled abs. And the reason why they were coming, it's because they felt safe there. I interviewed one of their members, a woman named Kristen, and she was still on her weight loss journey. And during the interview, she actually broke down in tears. And it wasn't because of the results, but because for the first time, she actually felt seen. She told me, the people here understand me better than my friends and family do. I don't feel judged here. I feel supported. And that clip became the core of my marketing message and the center of all my marketing. No offers, no hype, just resonance, okay? And that was the meat. Then came the ask, a low bar, $47 introductory offer. And once people stepped through the door, they felt the truth of it. The culture, the trust, the alignment. That's when we made the propose, okay? And that's when they joined the gym long term. That $300 ad spend in the first month turned into over $10,000 in revenue, like I say, just in 30 days. And more importantly, it allowed these two brothers to quit their day jobs and finally run the gym, their passion, full time. Because they stopped trying to sound like everyone else and they started just sounding like themselves. That's the power of empathic marketing. The message didn't just get seen, it got felt. This is the trap most creators fall into. They're doing the work, they're building the funnels, they're posting the content, they're running the ads, but none of it's landing, and it's because they're copying someone else's playbook. They see what's working for the big names and think, I'll just follow their strategy and I'll get their results. But here's what they don't see. The strategies work for them because they align with their audience, their voice, and their brand. When you copy the surface with understanding the soul, that message will fall flat. And that's what happened with the gym. They were trying to attract shredded 20-somethings, right? When their real magic was helping everyday people feel seen, safe, and strong. It wasn't a funnel problem, it was a message mismatch. And that's what I see every day. Great offers, great people, they get stuck. Not because they're doing the wrong things, but because they're saying the wrong things to the wrong people at the wrong time. You're not failing because you're not good enough. You're failing because your market is speaking a language your audience just doesn't understand. So let's get to it. What is the fix? Well, it's not about finding the next platform or chasing the latest trick, okay? The real fix is clarity. A message that actually reflects who you are and lands with the people you're trying to reach. That's Charlie snoring. I don't know if you can hear. The real fix is clarity. A message that actually reflects who you are and lands with the people that you are trying to reach. That's what MAP gives you. It gives you structure to something that's usually left to guesswork, okay? So instead of asking, what should I post today? You'll know exactly where you are in the relationship and what kind of message makes sense for that stage. When you're in meet, you're building trust. You're showing people you understand their world. When you ask, You're inviting them to lean in, right? Not with pressure, but with curiosity. And when you propose, it's not a pitch. It's an aligned next step in a relationship that already has momentum. Think about it. How long does your PowerPoint presentation need to be for you to convince your partner to marry you? That shift from broadcasting to connecting, it changes everything. You stop second guessing every headline. You stop duct taping together strategies from a dozen different gurus, and you start sounding like yourself. And you start seeing people respond. So I'm guessing if you made it this far, then you already know that this matters. You didn't get in this to play the content game or chase algorithms. You started because you believe in what you offer. You've probably already tried a bunch of different strategies. Some worked, most didn't, and it's left you wondering, maybe the problem is you, but it's not. The real issue is that no one ever showed you how to communicate in a way that feels right to you and lands with them. And that's not your fault. You don't need to sound like a guru or write like a copywriter. You just need a message that's aligned with who you are and speaks to the people you're actually there to help. And that's what good marketing does. It connects. And when it's working, it doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like clarity. If any of this landed for you, if you've been feeling like your message is close but not quite there, I run a free community called Marketing Message Mastery on Skool, and it's where I go deeper into this whole approach. I break down real examples, share the frameworks like MAP, and help creators, coaches, and service-based business owners build a message that actually feels like them. There's no pitch waiting inside, just clarity, support, and a space where you can get your message dialed in. So if that sounds like something you've been looking for, the link, I don't know, it's around here somewhere, and I'd love to see you in there.